Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Black on Black Cinema. I'm your host Jay. I'm here with my co-host Micah,
Hey,
Terrence,
what's up?
and Tiara.
Hey.
All right, guys, we're back. This is episode 244, 1001. This is playing exclusively on Peacock, so if you're looking to find this before listening to the episode, go to the streaming service Peacock. You can watch it there. The film is starring Teyana Taylor, Aaron Kingsley, Etta Tola, Avon Courtney, Josiah Cross, Will Catlett, and Terry Abney. So the film, the 2023 film, follows a mother who kidnaps her son from foster care, and the two of them, run off, and she goes to raise him as she normally would, because he was taken from her while she was in prison. So, just a bit of like show information. One, I'll be looking down most of the episode because my normal setup is not here, so I apologize for people watching video. The other thing is we're going to do this episode, and then we're going to be on a bit of a hiatus for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and then we'll be back. So just keep that in mind. And when we return, we may be audio only for a couple weeks after that, but we'll try to get back on audio and video as soon as we can, but we'll try to let people know via social media and everything else when we'll be back. But after this episode, expect maybe a 2 to 3 week delay. Okay. All right. So none of us had seen this movie beforehand, so I'll go first. Look, I thought it was pretty good. I thought I thought Teyana Taylor's, I hadn't seen her in anything else, but I thought her performance was pretty good, actually very good. It was interesting. Like, I thought it was an interesting film. I wasn't expecting certain things in the film at all. But I thought overall, all of the acting was pretty good, including the multiple kids who played the son, because it goes from the time he's 6 all the way through being 17. So yeah, I thought everybody was good, and I thought Teyana Taylor was especially good as Inez, and I also thought Will Catlett, who played Lucky, was very good as well. So yeah, the kids who were playing Terry were interesting, and also really good casting, because they all really did look alike, especially like the 6-year-old to the 17-year-old. Like, they actually look like he did look like a grown version of him. It was kind of wild. So shout out to the person who did the casting as well. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was good. You should check it out if you have not seen it. I will go to Micah.
I agree. This movie is very good. I echo a lot of what you said. I had to look up if Teyana Taylor was from New York, because she sounds like she's from New York. And yeah, she's from New York. And you can tell, because she sounds like she's from New York. Yeah, man, look, this is a nice little like urban love story between like a mother and son. And you don't see that a lot, right? You don't see stories of mothers. You don't see a story like this, right? Like, we all know stories like this. Like, also, I don't know who directed this, but I guarantee you it was a black person, probably a black woman, because this movie it feels real. It feels authentic. It feels like something that someone with
It is a black woman, by the way.
Okay. Well, it feels like something that someone with lived experience, or someone who is very close to a lived experience would have. Like, acting is stellar. I haven't seen Teyana Taylor in literally anything else. I didn't even know she could talk. So I've just seen pictures of her.
No, you saw she was in Coming to America too, by the way. She was Wesley Snipes' daughter.
Oh,
remember?
I try to block a lot of that out.
Yeah, no, you should. You should. That's not a good movie, but she looked great in it, but it's not a good movie. It's not her fault though.
But yeah, man, like this is I like Inez as a character. Like, she's incredibly flawed, but like at the same time, the movie shows that like she is a good person, and and the movie doesn't forget like, oh yeah, and by the way, like you see this struggle, you see how hard it is to be a black woman in the 90s and in the 2000s. Like, let's not forget all the rampant crime, and let's not forget all the weird gentrification, like all the shit with the landlord and all that. Like, all that stuff is in the background while she's trying to raise this boy. And it's just a really good movie, man. I really liked it. So I would recommend you go see it. Get a Peacock account and support this movie. It's really good.
Okay. Tiara.
Yeah. Echoing a lot of what both of y'all said. I really love this. It's been a while since I felt immersed in a movie where I felt like I was like part of it. I think this is Teyana Taylor's first lead role. And I thought she did an awesome job. I did the same thing too, Mike. I had to look her up to see if she was from New York, because I was like, wow, she's really pulling this off. I was like, is she from the area? And she's from Harlem as well. So it felt like she was probably tapping into, if not her own lived experiences, then probably what she's seen happen around her. I was not expecting the twist at the end. And I wasn't expecting the reaction to the twist at the very, very end of the movie. Because there was a part where I was just like, I don't know if you're Terry, and if you learn the thing that you learn, where do you go from there with someone who's your mother? I thought the development of Inez was done well as well. So seeing her being like this fiery person that is kind of fighting everyone on like a whim, and then seeing her kind of, I don't know if I would say mellow out, but at least be more selective with some of her outbursts throughout the rest of the movie. Just shows how that character took to heart that she needed to be a better mother herself. And then kind of seeing like the dynamic between her and Will Catlett, who I love, by the way. I think Will Catlett should be in more things. He's a really good actor. But like, just there was a scene here where he's like, you're being too tough on him. And I'm thinking like, that's really interesting, considering that it seems like she's the one that's probably most invested in Terry's future, especially when Terry gets an opportunity to go to a really good school and sort of almost break the cycle that his parents were both in. And then, of course, like gentrification is just like another major theme in this movie. And it's very apparent as you see like just the loud construction in the background and the different scenes. And then hearing Rudy Giuliani's past speeches kind of like, weaving through the movie. The part with the landlords, I was just like, nope. I was like, oh, he's going to fix what now? Or pretend to fix something? I was like, girl, they were about to raise your rent, or they're just going to try to find a way to another way to push you out. So,
yeah, that scene was fucked up.
Yeah, I was like,
white man walking that door. I'm like,
it's a wrap.
Yeah,
trouble.
I can help you.
No, thanks.
It still won't get out.
And even then, I was a little, surprised about just how readily Inez was just accepting of that help, being like, "Oh, really? You can do that?" I'm like, "No, don't do it, because this is all the prelude to them trying to push you out, since they're buying up the buildings around you." But yeah, just a really great movie. I agree with Jay and Micah. Check it out, and it's also not that long. I think it's maybe 2 hours, but it didn't really feel like.
Yeah.
Is it what, 2 hours?
Yeah, just under like 117.
Yeah, I really enjoy it, and again, like it's been a while since I felt like I was in the movie and also part of the story. I didn't watch it in the background; I was just really engrossed in it. So,
okay, Terrence.
Yeah, I would just be saying exactly what everybody else said. It's a good movie. Like you, Tiara. As soon as I turned it on, within like the first 5 minutes, I just watched it all the way through. I'm like, okay, this is cool. I sat and watched the whole thing. Yeah, Teyana Taylor. I haven't seen her in in a major acting role. She's really good. Like, she didn't have to in this one. She didn't have to really stretch too much. But what she had, she did. She was excellent with it. The kids. I know Micah doesn't like children actors, but this kid was really good.
This kid was very.
Yeah, I was about to say this 6-year-old was really fucking good. I was surprised. He didn't have a lot to say, but like just his acting in general, I'm like, this kid is pretty solid. And then it went to this 14-year-old. I'm like, this don't look like this nigga at all. And then just like you said, the 17-year-old. I'm like, yeah, so the 6 and the 17-year-old, they could easily be like his older brother. Will Catlett is good. It's just a good story. And that twist at the end and that scene, I lost it.
Yeah, I just did not see that coming at all.
Yeah, when I popped up in that scene when he was like, yo, what is this all about? Yeah, I was bawling. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This is fucking nuts, dude. Like, for real, it was crazy. But no, this is a really good movie. I enjoyed it a lot. It's not like a happy-go-lucky movie, but like it's definitely a movie worth watching. I think everybody should check it out.
Well, and it's interesting because you're right. It's not a happy-go-lucky movie, but it feels, multiple people here have said it. It feels very real, right? It like, and these are kind of when I think about like Black dramas and Black serious films that I like, these are the type I like, where it's actually showing us with a level of nuance, right? Like Tiara said, Inez is she's a complicated character, right? Like, she's not, you can't easily throw her into a box and say, okay, she's good, bad, whatever, or like, she's too overbearing or stuff like that. Like, yeah, I guess she is a little overbearing because she's trying to protect her Black son. Like, she's trying to stop him from being harassed by cops during stop and frisk. She's like trying to figure out what the fuck that's about. She's trying to protect him, to get him to a better school because he's a smart kid and he's in a school that he could get out of. Like, she's constantly doing these things. And it's like, I can't help but see other Black women I know, my mom in Inez, right? Like, I can't help but see that. And that to me I guess that is the benefit of living those kind of experiences. But those are the type of Black films I actually really appreciate, because you're not making a stereotype. Like, Inez feels like a real Black woman, like she does. Like, she's got all of the, even where she's coming from, she's got all the ambition to make her son's life great. She sacrifices her own potential career, right? She wants to be a hairdresser. She throws that all on the back burner to like be a janitor, basically, right? Or like clean houses or some shit like that. She does all that because her goal was to make sure, like, her goal in life was to make sure her son made it was more important than anything else. And like, I appreciate that about her. That feels very real. That feels very real to not only the Black experience, but like the Black woman experience from, as an outside perspective, my own. No, I mean, it was just dope. And it feels like a much more genuine version of us than we often see, which is mostly just stereotypes and, so on and so forth. And for people who are like, hey, I don't want to see like a sad movie, it's not really sad. It's just reality. Like, and like, now you could say that reality is sad, but like, I'd rather see this, and I'm not judging anybody, but I'd rather see this than sort of happy-go-lucky nonsense that is like, okay, this doesn't have any, like, it doesn't have any grit to it. I'd rather watch stuff like this. So yeah, I thought Teyana Taylor deserves a lot of credit for this movie. And look, it seems like audience really loved it and critics loved it too. So, if you haven't seen it, you really should.
This movie's not trauma porn.
No, it's not.
Like,
no, it
like that's the thing. It's not trauma porn. And if you are on the fence of it because you think it's trauma porn, it's not. I mean, it could be a stylized documentary. Quite frankly,
that's what it felt like to me, actually. Yeah.
This feels like a sequel to this movie is like Terry being awarded something and he gives thanks to his mom right? Like, especially you see all these athletes and like, oh, my mom did this, my mom did that, my mom sacrificed this and that. This is that story of that mom doing that.
Yeah.
And it's important, man. You don't see movies like this. Like usually it's like, it's either the black woman is superwoman, right? But still like needs a man to kind of save her at the end because she's so broken, or it's,
or the man is like mad abusive. I mean, this guy wasn't abusive. He was just kind of cheating on her.
He was
flawed too.
Dude. Yeah, they were all flawed. He was a nigga from
he was one of the
New
most
York.
real, like just regular dudes I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah.
I was actually really surprised by just how like non-stereotypical he was. Like, because usually when you see a character come in like that, especially a character that's playing almost like a stepfather figure because he's not Terry's dad, there's usually like this portrayal in some other films where he would be the guy that's like abusing the son or like trying to kick that son out, and that's not what happens in this film. Like, if anything, he really starts to lean into that fatherhood type or that father type of role when they could have gone a whole other direction.
Yeah, and look,
not from fucking Baby Boy and shit like that.
Right, exactly.
Like, fuck that little nigga.
God damn.
What the fuck is wrong with you, dog?
But I mean that's true, right? Like, not to spoil things that come up later, we'll spoil them later. But like, there's a whole aspect that Lucky says, like when he's talking to Inez, it's just the two of them. He's like basically, what the fuck do two criminals them like know about raising a kid, right? And it's interesting because, and we'll talk about the twist and everything else that happens, but Terry quite literally saves the two of them, right? Which is actually, in a way, how, like, I guess good family dynamics are. Children generally teach you how to grow up, right? They kind of force you to. And the two of them are like scamming and doing dumb shit when they're young, like going to jail or whatever. And then they start to raise Terry together, and they actually grow up as real adults. Like, and you watch them over these course of these like 11 years, which is really a fascinating aspect about like their dynamic. It isn't just like, we're raising this boy to be a good person. Like, they are, but also at the same time, he's inadvertently raising them, which is dope. But yeah, look, I love this movie. I thought it was very, very good. So let's jump right into it. The film opens with Inez.
On Rikers Island.
Yeah, she's on Rikers.
Like, God
oops.
damn, what the fuck?
Yeah, like, we're getting right into it. And she's just getting out of Rikers. And she's going back to her old neighborhood. If Peacock would actually work, I could tell you. And she's going back to her old neighborhood. And basically, she was a hairdresser before she got locked up. And she's trying to like go back to her old job. And I guess the guy who runs the salon is like, yeah, nah, you can't come back in here. And she's like, well, what about the money you owe me? And she was like, you can either pay me or let me have my old job back. He was like, yeah, bet, here's the money. Get the fuck out of here. Which,
like, money from like a year ago? What the fuck? What? Okay.
He's like, no problem.
Sure.
Like,
Right.
just go away. Because clearly Inez is a bit of a problem. So she takes that money. And so she basically goes back to the old neighborhood, and she's like seeing her friends and everything else. And, seeing, these kids running around, and she sees Terry, her son, hanging out, and she goes to talk to him or whatever. He is in foster care at this point, and she's trying to talk to him on the street while he's out with his friends, but he won't speak with her, right? Like, he's just completely silent. Obviously, he feels abandoned by her, and, she had been gone for whatever amount of years in Rikers. At this point, Terry is 6 years old. So she spends a lot of her time trying to like get back in his good graces and like talk with him and like kind of work that relationship back from zero. That ends up sort of kind of working when you realize like Terry's foster care, I guess foster mother is like seems like kind of an asshole to him. Like we see her out on the street kind of treating Terry like shit because the foster care system is really bad. Like it's really, really bad. And I wish people understood that. When they just just put kids up for adoption, super easy. They'll be fine. But
just have them. Just have them.
No
matter what. Have them. Yeah. Have them, even if you don't want them. Have them.
Yeah. Like, you adopting any kids out of foster care? Oh, man, me? Hell no. You crazy? Like, yeah, dude. Those kids suffer, man. That shit's fucking nuts. Don't tell people that shit. So
let me talk about this kid actor for a second.
Good, because I have 90 seconds of commercials while Peacock gets it together. Go ahead.
So this kid, as Terrence alluded to, I'm not the best fan of child actors because they don't have experience, and it requires a director to really give a damn about the performance that they're pulling out from a kid. If anybody has ever asked a child to do anything, you know they're not going to do it the way you want it done the first time you ask them.
Never.
You really got to coax it out of them. And this kid did a phenomenal job of being a real kid. Like he's like the way he's talking back and the way that like he's well, don't do it then, right? Well, then go then. Bye. He was like, I don't want to go though. Like, yeah, exactly. I know you don't want to go. Me and my wife, we hugged each other and started.
We gonna make it. We gonna get through it.
That's funny. But yeah, man, so kudos to everybody involved, man. Like this kid, much like everyone else in this movie, feels like a real person. And I'm going to be stressing that a lot in this movie because like, especially movies like this, sometimes it gets a little too like over dramatized or, very prominent Black directors take stuff like this and they just, well, hello there and all that shit, right? Like it just, like that ain't real. These people feel real, and it's a testament to the writing, the performances, and direction. And yeah, man.
This woman looks pretty young too. I think that's probably why it seems as real as it does, because this woman, A.V. Rockwell, she looks like she's probably in her 30s, maybe, if that.
Yeah, she looks super 30s. Young.
Yeah.
And this is her first feature.
She doesn't have all of that, like that, that nigger shit, like that old, like, fucking slave mentality type shit. I'm not saying, you know what I'm talking about. This is just weird. It just seems real. So.
Well, and she's writing, I mean, even though this takes place in like the 90s, I guess, she's still writing a very modern story, right? Like a very modern take on Black women. They're not playing, like, there's a whole conversation that happens on the stoop when she walks into her apartment later on in the movie that is like this sort of quintessential, like, woman's place in a home type of conversation between two women. Like, they let you know that those things kind of exist, but Inez doesn't exist in that world, right? She's very different than that. Like her and Lucky have a different type of relationship and stuff like that. So it's interesting, like these like very modern perspectives in a movie that clearly takes place in the past. But again, I sort of like messing around with that kind of stuff. It's kind of interesting. So after she goes to see Terry, at one point Terry gets hurt because he's running away from his forest care mom, and he falls out a window, Michael Ealy style, and that ain't right. And he hurts himself. He hits his head, and so she goes to see him in the hospital, and she's just like, "Listen, like, how are you? Like she's trying to kind of just, again, like work her way back into this like relationship. And then, she sees him a second time at the hospital, and like basically she says like, listen, he doesn't want to go with he doesn't want to go back to another forest care place, because she's like, look, they're going to move you because you got hurt at this place. They're going to move you to a different spot. And so he's like, look, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go with somebody else. And she's like, how would you feel about going with me? And he's like, okay, I mean, I guess sound cool. And so she kidnaps her own son out of foster care, which is obviously very illegal. But you do what you got to do to protect your kids, right? I get it. And so she takes him, and that sort of starts at about 13 minutes. That sort of starts their kind of journey together. It's like a weird coming of age kind of story, but like a on the run story, even though New York's not that big. So they just leave like Queens and go to the right. They like leave Queens and go to like the Bronx. Like it's just fucking hilarious. Like they didn't even go to Jersey.
3 miles down the road.
They're like, we'll never find them. The cops are like, I give up. It's 8 million people here. Fuck it. And so they move to this other borough, and like she's trying to find a place to stay and everything. And then you start to get like these moments where you can kind of see Inez's sort of immaturity as a person or as a mom. Like she's trying to call somebody on the phone, and Terry is like trying to interrupt her because he's 6, and that's just what kids do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, shit drives me crazy.
This was the scene, by the way. This was the scene.
Yeah, I knew the scene you were talking about.
So he's trying to interrupt, and she just flips out on him. She's like, don't you want to have a place to stay? Like, basically, shut the fuck up. I'm on the phone. Look, I couldn't possibly relate to that. No, definitely not. I quite literally snapped my fingers at my daughter the other day because we were in the drive-thru, and she's like, but I want, and I was like, please stop. Like, please stop. I can't hear the lady yelling out of the clown's mouth as to responding to my order while you're talking as well. Please stop.
I watched this movie yesterday, and this exact incident happened. I was FaceTiming my parents, and because they wanted to see the boys, and we show the youngest one is getting a lot of FaceTime because like he's starting to move, and he's starting to crawl, and they want to see it, right? And the eldest is just, look at this truck, look at this truck, look. And I'm just like, can you please? And by like the 8th time, I just kind of raise my voice a bit with my parents on the phone, and they're laughing at
a bit.
Yeah.
A bit. What is?
Yeah, I bet they were. They were like, yeah.
Now you know how it feels, nigga.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Just like you hugged your wife, they high-fived each other right after they got off that FaceTime call.
Micah, does your son do the whole "Daddy, look," and then he just jumps, and you're like, "Oh, was that it?"
Right. Look at this truck. Yeah, I know. I bought it. I bought the truck. I know what it looks like. All right. God damn.
Sit down.
Right.
That's fucking funny. Look at this truck. Okay. I got it.
It's
I'm
a
the one who
Ford
took the
F-150.
battery.
No, it's a Chevrolet. What? No, it's not. It's a Ford F-150. No, it's a Chevrolet. All right, yo. All right. Just shut up. Just shut up.
There is nothing that is more irritating and will also make you feel stupid than arguing a fact with a small child. You're like, yo, no, it isn't. Yo, like, no, it isn't. Yo, I'm smarter than you. And then you're like, yo, why are we arguing? I feel like a moron right now. It's F-150. No, it's not. Yeah, you're screaming at each other over dumb facts. Who gives a fuck?
Right. It's the stupidest thing that's happened in my day today is arguing whether a toy truck is a Ford F-150, which it was, or a Chevrolet. I don't know. What the fuck? All right, yo.
Oh, that's funny.
God damn.
You're like, look at the receipt. Look at the receipt. It's saying.
Damn.
That shit's funny. I've definitely done that. I'm like, that's not true. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, what the fuck? It's a dolphin, nigga. Shut up. It's not a shark. So yeah, you see this moment where Inez pulls a mic, yells at her son at the phone booth. And so she eventually gets her friend on the phone. Her friend agrees, like, yeah, you and your son can come sleep here. And so she does. They go to sleep at I think that's Aunt Kim's house. And like Kim's mom is like, don't bring her ass in here. Like, no, thank you. Your friend ain't shit. Like, just right to her face. And I'm not that far away. It's just kind of mean. So they're there, and Terry stays with Kim while Inez is out there trying to find a job. Trying to find an apartment and everything. And basically, Inez calls back at the house, and she's like, "Look, don't." Actually, before that, Inez is there, and Kim's mom is like, "Look, like, you need to, what did she say? Like, she's called her. She said some shit. Like, she said some like dirty shit to Inez. I can't remember what the exact line
basically was. It was something like, what are you teaching that boy? And
dress like a whore or some shit.
You dress like a streetwalker or something.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, showing up, being with God knows who, walking around like some kind of streetwalker. And Inez was like, "What did you call me? Like, only I'll fight your ass." Which is probably not a good idea for Kim's mom, because like Inez is kind of jacked. Like, no, I probably wouldn't have. Not trying to come to fisticuffs with Inez. No thanks. And so she pushes that old lady down, as you do. Like, fuck you. And of course Kim is like, yeah, you got to leave, yo. You can't be beating up my mom, Like, this shit's unacceptable. And she apologizes. I mean, she does the hood apology. Was I wrong? Yes. But
I was just like, yeah. I mean, she kind of apologized, but she wasn't like sorry.
I mean, I shouldn't have done it, but like at the same time, your mom was talking mad shit. So, talk shit, get hit. That's all I'm saying.
It was like, what do you want me to say? Say I'm sorry. That's what I want you to say.
My bad. At least I'm my bad. God damn.
Right.
Like, but I'm
was I wrong?
Like,
yes.
Like, yeah,
but what you want me to say? What the fuck?
Yeah.
She's like, I'm not a streetwalker. I'm like, I mean,
like, you're wearing a streetwalker's uniform. But so she gets kicked out. But luckily she finds an apartment. And it's, or no, not at that point. She goes and stays with somebody else. And they are, she's staying at this older woman's house, and they're basically, she's like trying to show her the way. Like, listen, you got to look out for your son. You got to do whatever you got to do to survive. Like, this shit ain't going to be, shit isn't going to be easy. And Inez is like actually listening to this woman. And it kind of tees up the type of person Inez ends up being in a lot of ways. She talks about losing her family, and because she was in foster care, and she had a sister that was also in foster care, and her sister ran away, and so she never found her, which is really fucking disturbing and fucked up. Again, the foster care system is really horrible, especially for Black children. But at this point, Inez eventually, thankfully, finds an apartment. This happened in the past because this apartment was $350 a month, which is crazy. In New York.
Like, God damn.
Yeah, that same apartment in New York now.
$7,000.
Right, exactly.
Fucking efficiency.
You couldn't get an efficiency for $350 in New York if you tried. That shit would have rats swimming in your bathtub. Get out of here. Gross.
I never realized how small like a New York apartment is until I actually went in one.
Tiny, dude.
Yeah, they're really fucking insane. Because
it was like a fifth floor walk up,
No.
And it was nah, you remember the palatial ground floor studio apartment. Like their apartment was like the size of my kitchen and bedroom. Like that's it. And their whole ass apartment. Like I was like, Jesus Christ. What are you paying to live here?
Because all those buildings were made in 1920.
Yeah, they're all pre-war buildings.
Old as shit. Yeah.
TR, don't your sisters live in New York?
Yeah, one of them does. Yeah,
she got a tiny ass apartment. Her and her 9 roommates.
No, she has a 1 bedroom and she lives by herself.
She rich.
It's pretty sizable.
Yeah, TR's whole family rich. They got all that Jamaican coffee money. Like, that's
I want to say we're rich.
See?
No, I don't know any rich people.
Okay, moderately wealthy.
You hang out with wealthy people.
Yeah, see how they do? See how they change the shit up?
I wish I had rich family members. Give me $1.
She was like, if I was rich,
if I ever did anything nice for you, give me $1.
Give me $1. Yeah, you ain't gonna make it. I doubt it. Nah, yo, like I have Micah, you know them. My wife and I have friends who are longtime New Yorkers, and they are well-to-do, and they have a very nice. Like they had a fine apartment, not great, but they had a fine apartment. They had to wait until the lady next door died, and then bought her apartment, and then basically knocked the wall down to make a bigger, like reasonable size apartment. Like, and it's a really nice apartment, but it was insane. Like. I don't even want to tell you the amount of money they spent on the renovations because it's an absolutely insane number. But I'm like, no, just buy a house anywhere else in the world. Anywhere. Just go to Jersey for fuck's sake. Nope.
Yeah, just go across the fucking water. Yo, it's not that far.
Nah, like I'm not.
It really isn't.
No, this is absolutely crazy. But yeah, so they got again. Much like the gas prices in the original Die Hard movie, $350 a month is ridiculous to think about. So her Inez and Terry, they got this apartment. Things are going pretty good. She leaves him for one day to go to work because she can't put him in school because she stole him from the foster care system. So until she gets some papers for him, fake papers, she can't really put him back in school or anything. So he's just sitting at home, eating cereal and watching TV, and I guess listening to tapes. Yeah, that's not good for kids. Like the fact that this kid didn't destroy this house or run away is amazing, but that's good. We do get a first inkling of Terry being interested in music as he's watching a TV show. With all the music done by Quincy Jones, which becomes important later on in the film. There is Inez comes home and like realizes, like she can't leave him like this. Like he's not capable of this. But again, that's her level of maturity, right? Like she didn't know. There's a really sweet scene of her and Terry playing baseball outside. And it's like a really, really good bonding moment. It's just really kind of a beautiful, beautiful moment of like Terry and Inez actually being, mother and son, enjoying each other's company, having fun. Him really being a kid, sort of him blossoming too, right? Because he was super quiet for a while too. And it's a good scene. Then you see them like kind of painting the apartment together, kind of making their own home, right? And again, these are bonding moments. Then we find out that Inez's boyfriend or old boyfriend, Lucky, is going to be moving into the apartment.
But before you continue, there's a scene when he's playing a video game. This really pissed me off. He was holding a GameCube controller. This was 1996. GameCube came out in 2002. I was like, that controller's wrong.
That controller is wrong.
Like, someone didn't do their fucking homework. Like it was 96, it would have been a PlayStation 1 controller. It probably couldn't afford that, so they probably would have still been playing like a Sega Genesis if he had a game system at all. That's it. Like it irritated me. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
This movie was so good. How could they make this
like,
era of all?
It almost took away 1 star.
It almost took away 1 star.
I'm surprised you didn't notice it, Michael. Did you not notice it?
No, I didn't notice it. I didn't notice it.
I was looking.
I'm noticing it now, and yeah, it is kind of annoying.
Yeah, it's 96. It was 96 and 97. The GameCube was 7 years off. Stop it. But continue.
But I digress.
It should have been a 64 controller. Should have been a 64 controller. But
maybe they didn't choose the Nintendo 64 because it's the most hideous controller that's ever been made. How about that?
There you go. That's it.
That's a fucking piece of shit. That's when my brain stopped learning how to play video games. I was like, I don't understand how to hold this, and I gave up. It was just right then. So then Lucky is gonna move in, and like we had talked about, this is the moment I was like, oh shit, here we go. Yeah, here come this nigga.
This nigga sitting in the couch. He's like, who the fuck is this nigga? How long you gonna be here? He's like, oh, this nigga trying to kick me out already. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah, I thought this was gonna go a different way. Now, TR, you're kind of smiling. What were your thoughts on this scene?
I thought it was about to be like some, as Terrence pointed out earlier, some baby boy mess where I was going to be like, oh my God, is he going to like say something rude to, are we calling him Daryl now? Or are we calling Daryl Daryl? And then I was like, no, it's Will Catlett. There's no way he's going to play a villain like he has in other things. But no, I thought it was a pretty interesting scene because I thought, like you said earlier, Jay, like you kind of start to see Terry kind of blossom a little bit, and this is, I feel like an example of him being like, am I still replaceable to you? Because I felt like that's how he was feeling, like the whole.
That's how Terry was feeling.
Yeah. Like,
yeah, I could. I could see that. Like, that is like a really weird thing of. I mean, husbands or boyfriends feeling like they're being replaced by children, and I suppose children also feel that way too, which is kind of an interesting perspective because there's only so much attention to go around, right? So like you do take your attention off one person to give it to another person. Like that is a balance, right? I mean, it's kind of interesting that Terry feels that way. It makes sense because he has been abandoned. So why would the woman who abandoned him earlier not do it again? And he's sort of dealt with abandonment his whole life, right? Like being moved around in foster care and stuff like that. So it does in fact make sense. And there is like a weird, because I thought at first that is definitely the route they were going with, of like, just kind of having Lucky just kind of be a shithead to him. But then like there's a scene with the basketball scene where they're playing basketball in the house, and I was like, oh, okay, like he don't really, like, is he gonna do some dirty shit to Terry? Like the stereotype is so prevalent in media that we're all expecting it to happen, which is a really sad fact that you don't just see a black man of whatever station come in and just be a father. Like that used to be much more prevalent in movies, but in our lifetime has not been. And the stereotype is always this dude comes in, he's a real piece of shit to the kid, or he's a piece of shit to the mom, or both, right? It's like, fuck that kid. I just wanted you. Like he does say that. Like I didn't sign up to be with this kid. I just wanted to be with you. But again, he matures as well, and it's like, yeah, I'm the father figure. Like, then I gotta pull up and I gotta do what I'm supposed to do. And I appreciate it about how the character's written like that.
He never makes Terry feel less than at all.
Never.
At no point after this. Even when later on when they do become like a real unit, he's like, no, you're mine. And like you said, Jay, like we're so conditioned to kind of see the opposite happen. Even in films made by other Black directors, and I really love that this director chose to not go that route, because in a way it still feels like still feels real to me. Like these are real characters.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really sad statement on Black films. That's how Black men are often portrayed when it comes to children.
I mean, to be fair, it's coming from somewhere.
It happens.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
And yeah, it happens, and like, but like, that's not all we are.
Exactly.
But that's in media, that's all they show us as, and that's not all we are.
Right.
He has his flaws. Like, even there's a scene coming up next when when Inez tells him to take him with him to get some food, and he tells him walk on the other side of the street for and it's like, it's for your protection. I'm like, okay, now I'm seeing that he actually gives a fuck about this kid. That was like the beginnings of me actually saying, oh, he really does care about this kid. Because the scene prior to that, he was looking at the other chick across the street while he was on his bike. But yeah, it's that's what we always see. And like, I was shocked when that wasn't what he actually turned out to be, honestly.
And even then, like, and even with that scene, like when she was like, yeah, take Terry with you, I was still waiting for like the other shoe to drop. I'm like, oh my God, okay, he's going to take Terry with him, and then he's not going to be watching him, and then this whole thing is going to blow up in their faces. They're going to find out this kid was kidnapped, and I'm like, oh my God, he's a piece of shit stepfather. And no, it just.
I mean, it's like we were
preparing for the
together.
fucking worst, dude. Like, all of us were preparing for the worst.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's like y'all were watching it with me, and it's like y'all would. I mean, you're quoting my wife. You're quoting her.
He gonna fuck up. I know it. Yeah. No, but that's what it felt like. But that's.
Yeah.
I mean, you're 100% right, Micah. It doesn't come from nowhere, right? So like that's a sad state of Black men with children. But to Terrence's point, that is all the media ever shows. And I have to give the director 100% credit for being like, for teeing that up and be like, psych. Actually, he's a good father. Like, because look, like, the reality is, like, percentage wise, like, Black men are not out of the homes of their children as much as as the media. And I don't mean like television. I'm talking about like the news portrays. Like, that statistic is not as crazy as people think it is. Like, it's high, but like Black fathers who are not incarcerated and stuff like that aren't just like who are like with the mother. They're not just, they're just not taking care of their kids. That's actually not true. But again, those things are pushed in a very different way.
Right, like,
my skepticism of this character went on until Terry was like 16 years old, talking about going to that new school or going to college or something like that. Like, even then I was like, oh God, is he going to give him bad advice? He's going to be like, no, you need to go because you don't want to be controlled. And I'm like, oh God. Yeah. When that line came up, I was like I did. So I was like, oh, here we go. Here we go. And then that conversation happened, and I was just like, oh, okay, well that's
not so bad.
Reasonable advice. Okay, carry on.
Right.
You're not the worst.
My mind had me when she was super young, right? So my biological father, wherever the fuck that nigga is, he wasn't there. But like, she met my father when she was like 17, 18 years old. And then they had another kid. Like, my brother's 3 years younger than I am. But he never saw me as like some other kid. Right. He saw me as his son. So that's all I've known. That's all I ever knew when I was growing up. Like, he took like, that's insane. I think it wasn't even 20 years old yet, but he took responsibility for me as well as my brother and my mom super young. So that's what I grew up. No, that's the only thing I know. He wasn't my biological father, but yeah, he just fucking raised me with my mom. And it's like, so that's all I know.
Yeah.
When it comes to like raising a Black man raising their family, that nigga was crazy. I don't know if I could have done that.
No, but like,
done that shit.
There's not a lot.
That's crazy, but
there's not a lot of people built like that. There really is just not.
When you consider their circumstances, right? Because Lucky had just gotten out of.
He just got out of lockup.
Had just gotten out of prison. Inez
So did
was
she.
just
Pretty
barely
much.
set up.
Yep.
I mean, and it's clear they had some real issues to work with. I mean, she alluded that she went to jail for him a couple of times, so they had some stuff to work out. And here he is stepping up and accepting this little boy as his own.
Yeah, it's you never see this, right? Like
You don't.
This is kind of unique in media. Like I'm sure it happens all the time in real life, but in media you don't see this shit ever.
No.
Which was a shocker to all four of us.
I cannot believe it. Yeah, I mean it is just really, really fascinating that circumstance surrounds that character. Like this sort of like real life way that we see black men, the real life way black men are portrayed in media, then the movie taking that and sort of playing with it on purpose to kind of be like, yeah, maybe now we're gonna go the other way. Like that's a clever design by the writer director. I think she wrote and directed this as well. So the kudos to her for that kind of work. That's dope. So yeah, like we were saying, you've got all these moments where Lucky is sort of being asked to be this father figure, right? And and at one point earlier in the movie, Terry and Inez are talking, and Terry's like, "Where's my dad?" And she's like, "He's gone, but I have another person in mind. Basically, I have another guy who I think could be a good father to you, right?" And that was clearly Lucky, and at the end of the day, yeah, she was right. Like he was a good choice to be a father. Like for all of the things that he lacked, right? He was far from a perfect character, like definitely. But at the end of the day, he was a good dude, especially when it came to raising a son. He was quite good at it. And look, being there is a lot of it, Like just being there is a lot of it. Like I think people underappreciate that. Like just being there and being like, what should I do? Let's talk about it. Like that's a lot of just being a dad. Like, and niggas are just like, I'm out. Like, don't do that. Like, come on, man. Don't do that. So from there, Lucky does admit that he just wanted her and he hadn't signed up for this to be a dad, but he does anyway. So then, you see the scene where Inez and Lucky get married. And look, man, they're out there, they outside of their apartment, they're happy, right? Like these are broke folks, but they got each other, right? Like it's a weird thing. And I know it's more common than people pretend it is, but like people got to stop thinking that money is the most important thing in a relationship, Like these are two broke ass niggas who have found love with each other, right? Like they just like, they're not having a fancy wedding, They're outside of their house. They went to the courthouse, clearly. Like they're not having a big party or anything. It's just two regular ass people.
They're just happy.
Yeah, like that's that's way more important than trying to stunt for fucking Instagram and shit. I see that shit all the time. It's crazy. Like relax. Y'all niggas are broke together. It's okay. You just broke together. It is what it is. Better than being broke apart. So they're happy or whatever. And Lucky takes a moment, which I thought was really good, to just be like, look, me and your mother, like, we're together now. Like, so, we're family. Like, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to take care of her. Like, it is what it is. He was giving off some... Look. He was giving off some Delroy Lindo vibes.
Yeah,
like he really was.
It's very.
I guess it's an indictment on me, I'm like, this nigga lying, He lying.
It's so sad, How sad is that?
Pervasive, It's fucked up,
I have a question, Micah. Did you think he was the line when he gave Terry the chain in like the very next scene?
When he gave him the chain, I kind of was like, all right, well, maybe he's not lying. But when in that moment where he's just like, look at me, I'm family now, blood now. I'm like, Like, I don't trust this nigga, yo.
but technically you're not blood though. Like, technically.
And that, look, I feel bad, yo, because Lucky was a good dude, man.
Yo,
Like,
it's
he
kind of
really
fucked
was,
up, yo. It really is. It is, yo. Look what media has done to us, yo.
Yeah, it's
For real.
super fucked up. Like family, and if when all is said and done, like family is who you choose, right?
That's absolutely right.
Like some people, like you don't have to be blood to be family. Like family is who you choose to be with.
Yeah,
that's the most important thing.
Sometimes your found family is way better to you.
It's a lot better. Like, yeah, ask the fucking LGBT community for that shit. Because like that, your real family will just throw you out on a fucking street.
Yeah.
And then you find I'm so disappointed. Is this a whole Fast and the Furious pun that your guys are making?
No.
Okay.
Don't you dare bring up that god awful movie.
Don't do that
while we're talking about this beautiful work of art. Get out of here.
I didn't even hear what you said.
Also, a work of art with the black people in it. Jesus.
What movie? I missed it because my internet.
No, I don't. You ain't missed nothing. You ain't missed nothing.
I ain't even invoking that. I'm not even invoking that god awful movie.
No, Tiara's just being a jerk. He's being rude. He's being a rude ass person for no reason. None.
Look, it was right there. Had it.
Yeah, and you didn't have to because you look.
I did. We're about to go on a hiatus for a little bit.
You gotta get your shit off. I get it. You know what? I understand. Yeah. Look, look, I gotta tell you, even I agree with Micah. Like even then, I was like, but yeah, when you give somebody a chain, I was like, oh, he gave him a Rockefeller chain. Like he probably
he gets the rock.
He was like, don't worry about it. You crazy for this one, Terry? Yeah, it's like. It is sad, yo. That's a real sad indictment on us, yo, as just media consumers. So then we jump up in age, and Terry is now 13. He looks nothing like he did before, but he's still with his friend P, who we haven't talked about, but he's just like his buddy from around the way type of shit. And Terry. He gets called into school with his mom, and they're like, "Listen, your son is way too goddamn smart to be here, so we need to have him tested so he can go to a better school." And the woman at the school, the white woman at the school,
this was right before he got stopped and frisked. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, right before or right after?
Right before.
Right before, right? So. Mm-hmm. The white teacher is like, well, we don't get. She was like, I was surprised to see you as you were Terry's mom. We don't get a lot of students who are so articulate. I was like, thank you for saying my son is very smart. Don't make me come across this desk and knock your ass out. Look, shout out to Inez because she was way nicer than I would have been in that situation. Like, excuse me?
That's how you knew that there was growth because 1994 Inez.
Nah, should have choked her ass out right there.
Who the fuck you think you talking to? like, well, we got to get the school police to escort this woman out.
Yeah, a couple years ago, she knocked the old lady down. Like, she didn't give her in her own house. Yeah, so that was kind of a wild statement. I was like, relax, just fucking relax your language. But yeah, she's like, listen, I brought in this other lady from this school, this black woman, who's gonna fuck your life up later, for being too goddamn nosy. She's from this like fancy sort of magnet school type of thing. And we want to test Terry because we think that he is smart enough to get out of this school and go to this other fancy school. And so Terry doesn't want to do it because he is a reluctant child. And like Micah said earlier, if you try to ask a child to do anything, they don't want to do it, even when it's in their best fucking interest. And so he doesn't want to take the test. Why? Because he don't. Like, that's his answer. Because I don't.
What grade are you in when you're 13 years old? Like 6th?
No, you're like 8th grade.
Wait, what? I'm trying to.
They were in 8th grade.
Yeah, 14. You're in
Yeah,
ninth
you're in
grade.
8th grade. 14, you're in
Even a
9th
stupid
grade.
ass
High
friend
school.
was talking about how they didn't want to start freshman year without any girl. Like, all right, sit down.
One.
You're
Y'all
kidding.
not getting girls. Relax. At least I wasn't. And so I'm just gonna extrapolate that out to everybody else. So yeah, he doesn't want to do it. And so she's like, nah, you're gonna do it. Like just take the test. Like Inez tries to be slick. She's like, just take the test and see if you pass. You don't have to go, but just take the test and see if you pass. And of course he passes and he gets it. She's like, yeah, you going, nigga. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Like, nah,
Psych.
you just told me to see if I could do it. I did it. I don't want to go. Like, all right, well,
guess what? I mean, like, you can either go to that school or you can find another place to live. I was like, God damn, that's a hell of an ultimatum. I was like, that's it? He was like, well, I don't know how to cook, so I guess I'm going. And look, you know, to his credit, he doesn't know what he wants to do. And he eventually talks to Lucky about it, but we'll get there. Him and P are at some little restaurant or whatever that they go to, and he tries to talk to the girl who works there. She hates this nigga. she hates him and his friends. I get why she don't like P, because he yelled and called her
she don't
midnight.
like P, yeah.
Yeah, he called her midnight. I was like, bro, don't do that.
What the fuck?
Like, that shit is unacceptable, man. Like, come on.
Colorism in there too, for good measure.
Yeah, for good measure. I mean, it's really funny because even Terry lies to his mother later on. He was like, I only like, I like Spanish girls. Like,
Yeah,
boy, stop lying.
But that element, like stuff like that, was like especially triggering to me, because I'm like, yeah, I've been that girl that's been called or been made fun of for her dark skin by other black boys, and then hearing black boys be like, yeah, like Spanish girls. I'm like, I honestly don't think he was probably lying at that point. I'm pretty sure up until he saw what was her name? Simone? Something like that?
I can't remember.
Up until he saw that girl, he probably was feeding into only liking Hispanic Latina.
Right. Yeah, it's that's a sad truth. I just never understood it. Like, I don't get it. Like, there's fine women everywhere. I don't give a fuck what your complexion is. It seems so weird to me. Like, it just does. I guess I'm not that picky. Like, all right. Like, I'm a fan of the Wu-Tang ice cream song. Like, whatever flavor, dude. I don't give a shit. Finest everywhere. So yeah, she don't really fuck with them.
I don't like vanilla.
All right, that's fair.
I'm not a huge fan of vanilla ice cream. I'm just telling you. Like, I like.
It can be a bit boring. I'll give you that. Very boring. I mean, not that it has anything to do with anything, how things turned out, but butter pecan is in fact my favorite ice cream. So I guess it did kind of work out as it did. It is what it is. Yeah, we know. We know. So, Inez is talking to Lucky, and she's like, listen, he has a chance to go to this better school. I need you. Like, he don't want to listen to me. Be a father and talk to this dude. And he's like, look, maybe if you weren't so like overbearing, like, and getting all loud and shit, maybe he would hear you. And she got pissed, rightfully so, because she was like, yeah, you used to like when I used to get a little spicy, like back in the day. But now you're telling me to quiet down. Like, nah, fuck that. That's fair, yo. If that's what you liked about somebody, you can't ask them to turn it down now. Like, you knew who she was. Y'all been together for a long time at this point. Like, knock that shit off.
Yeah, at least 7 years at this point. It's 6. He's 13, 14 years. Yeah, like 6, 7 years.
And right, and they've been together before Terry. So
Yeah.
So who knows how long that was. So yeah, he gets pissed. And like she pushes his ass into an oven. She was like, "No, fuck you, yo. Like, be there for me. Like, stand up and be a father to this boy. Like, don't tell me some bullshit about don't tell me some bullshit that you're not going to talk to him, because she's so afraid, because she found out that he got stopped by the cops for stop and frisk. She's so afraid something's going to happen to him. She says something's going to happen. I just know it. And so she's so terrified that something is going to happen to her son at this school or in this neighborhood. She was trying to like get him out of that situation, get him into a better situation. And so she gets pissed when Lucky is not as enthusiastic about getting their son to a better place in life. Because he says something like, well, it's bound, like basically like it's bound to happen someday anyway. Basically like him getting shot by the cops or him getting, in trouble or whatever, ending up in jail. And that's when she shoved him into the oven.
Yeah, he was like, well, he don't have an ID. Like, yo, what the fuck, yo? Like, he shouldn't need an ID, right? Like, this ain't World War II Germany. Like, I don't have to show you my papers. Right, get out of here, man.
Yeah, he's at this point. Yeah, he's 13.
But you
Why
know
the
what?
fuck would he need?
But you know what though? But you know what? Like, I'm thinking about someone who would say something like that right now, and he may or may not be related to me paternally. So it's like that's something that would come out of someone's mouth of a certain age.
Yeah.
And again, these characters are real characters, man. Like, these characters are real characters.
Well, you just need ID. Like,
They're
that's
real
really
people.
not the fucking point
Why
here,
don't you
Dad.
have that? Well, why were you dressed like that? Well, why don't you? All right, yo. Like, that's not the point.
All right, well, next time don't have a hoodie on. Like, oh, all right, Dad.
Well, who were you with?
Stopped by the cops, Micah. I know Jay has. I don't remember if you
not
ever had
for like speeding, but
not just
for just general blackness.
For being a nigga. Okay.
Nah.
Good for you.
I don't go nowhere.
Not fun.
I don't go nowhere. What the fuck?
Nigga, I was walking down the street.
You were going somewhere. Where were you going? Why were you going there?
That's where the fuck I was going.
Where was your ID?
Where was your ID?
It was in my wallet. I had it. No, I had an ID at that time, but like it was in my wallet. Yeah, it was fucked up. Yeah,
it's not a good feeling, man.
What's the description?
Black,
wearing a jacket.
Wearing a jacket, nigga. It's December. What the fuck?
It was like between 5'9" and 6'2" or some shit. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
so every black person you've ever met.
So this is a joke to you niggas, right? Okay. Cool.
Between 5'9" and 6'2". All right, yo, like knock it off.
Anywhere between a whole half a foot difference, yo. Like, come on, man. Like, you can't get somebody's height within 3 inches. You gotta give them 6.
I've been stopped a few times by the cops just for walking.
That's just crazy. Tiara, have you ever is that as prevalent do black women deal with that as prevalently as black men do?
I've only been stopped for speeding multiple times.
So Mike is basically a black woman. Got it. When it comes to cop experience. Yeah, when it comes to cop experience. Yeah. No, look, you're doing better than us, man.
When I say good for you, I'm being kind
No, it's not a good feeling, yo. It's not a good feeling.
But at the same time, good for you that you've never been stopped by the cops for fucking nothing. Because it's not a good feeling. Fucking sucks.
Yep, it does. It's not fun. What are you doing? What? What are you talking about? Hey.
I got stopped one time walking with my cousin. I was walking home with my cousin. I was literally maybe 500 feet away from my house, walking home from the store. And they stopped me. And where y'all going? I'm like, nigga, I'm going home. This is my cousin. You got ID on you? Are you fucking I can see my house. It's right there, yo. It's right there. God damn, yo.
Look, don't point at it, nigga. We'll come raid it. All right, relax. No, yo, cops are not. They're not good people. Yeah, they're just not.
Don't point at it. Your fingers look like a gun.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It was shot like that was what, like 2000?
Oh, yeah, nigga,
like 2001, 2002. Yeah,
yeah. They were shooting niggas like target practice back then. No thanks. Not that it's really stopped today. No. So we do get a scene, a good father-son scene, where, you know, Lucky, who has not been around for a couple days or weeks maybe, is out in the park playing basketball, and Terry sees him, and they have a conversation, and he's like, listen, did I ever tell you how I met your mom? And apparently, like, she used to work in a coffee shop, which is weird. I didn't know they had like coffee shops back then. And he's like, I just told her, she was the most beautiful woman he'd ever seen, and that's how it worked out. Of course, Terry tries that later, and it goes not as great.
He was like, I mean, you beautiful or whatever, you know.
Oh, whatever.
Like, nigga, what the fuck?
Well, stop calling here, yo. Don't talk to me for the rest of the day. Get the fuck away from me. It did not work out.
I really like this scene a lot. This scene on the basketball court.
Yeah, but this was
the scene when I'm like, oh, this nigga is for real. At this point, I'm like, okay,
yeah. He said, "I love you." Got it, yo.
Right. I was like, almost teared up a little bit.
You got me.
I can count on two fingers how often my father said he loves me.
Really?
Maybe I got like,
really. Wow.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe me too.
Yes.
Dead ass.
Yes.
Like one or two times. I remember.
That's crazy.
In 2006.
Yo, you got the dates. That's wild.
I remember the year. I was at my grandmother's.
Like June 14th. It was a rainy day.
It was like in August of 2006. I'm not lying. I was at my grandmother's house. I was helping renovate her house because it was going through a lot. Like, this is when she had her heart attack, and I was at there kind of helping out, and me and the Mexican crew because Mexican. We helped renovate the house, and he came. It was in New York, and he drove back. He drove up from New York, and he saw all the work we put in, and it looked really good. It was dope. And yeah, he grabbed me, hugged me, and said, "I love you." That was 2006. I remember that. And wow. I think one other time, maybe a few years prior to that. That's two times that I remember.
Wow.
Yeah, fathers don't say that too much, especially of a certain age.
Nah, they don't, yo.
They don't.
Right.
I mean, look. I'm saying that. I'm saying wow, because that's crazy. Like how infrequent it is. But how about this? My real dad, 0 times. 0. Like, not that I can remember. So it's, I mean, my stepdad, probably a number of times, like, but again, that age, like, if they said it, like, they may not have said they may not have said pause, but like, that shit was in their brain. like I guarantee you it was. I love you. I mean, pause, but like, relax. Which is sad, like, that shit is sad. And you should be able to say it to your kids. I tell my daughter all the time, like, and look, that's I'll happily admit that's like in society that's seen as easier for like you to tell, like a father to tell his daughter that. Yeah. Like, so I'm not gonna say that's a 1-to-1. But yeah, a lot of dudes don't say that shit. Like, nah, bro. Like, you don't even say it to you don't even say it to your friends. Like, but you don't say, like, black men don't even say it to their friends. Like, we don't. Nah. No, you know when you say it to your friends, like your male friends, you say it on the deathbed, and you be like, I love you, dog, or whatever. Like you don't say this shit, yo. It's fucked up.
I have a question.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
At Micah's wedding, did y'all say?
No, fuck that nigga, yo. Get out of here, yo. Yo, tell his wife to say I love you, yo. I'm not laying down with him that night. Knock it off. Knock it off.
You know what he did? He the best man speech. He quoted a Captain America movie. I did.
The
type of, like that's it. Just like I'm
That's
with
it.
you to the end of the line.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. You're welcome, nigga. Like that's the most manly shit. That look.
I got it. I got it.
Yeah, he got it.
Say it.
Right. Look, it's the classic guy thing. You know I mean it, nigga. I don't gotta say that shit. That's how guys are. We're so pathetic. It's so ridiculous. It is.
Not even when the baby started coming, like nothing. Just congratulations, nigga. Like something like that. I don't know.
Congratulations, nigga.
That's how it be, yo. That's how it be.
It's just like, oh shit, good luck, nigga.
Good
Terrence
luck.
literally said that. Terrence literally said that when the second one was born. He said,
Oh yeah, I
he
did
said,
say that.
me and my brother are 3 years apart. Good luck, nigga.
Good luck, nigga.
Wow.
I
I told my friends I love them.
I know. Look, it is a luxury. It is a luxury that you guys have in society is that you can do that. Look, I mean, I got to tell you. Say again.
Some people I do tell them I hate them. I may like them, but I hate them. Well, most people I tell them I love them.
See. Look at how.
Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to get all like mushy with folks.
Yeah,
so I'm just like, you're a fucking idiot. I hate you, but I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Right, like that. That's how we express ourselves through just unbelievably mean-spirited antics. But like,
yeah,
like it's like
it's
my brother and I, like when we get together and like right before we leave, it's only been maybe 4 years that we say we love each other before we like, you know, I'm 42 years old. He's 38.
That's your brother, yo. That's your brother.
4 years ago was when we really started saying it to each other. That's insane.
But
I mean, it's just how we were raised. My mother don't even be saying that shit. But that's how she was raised.
That's how she was raised.
She was raised like get shit done.
Yeah.
She was raised by a single one-legged mother. It's not funny.
Yo, you can't say that and then immediately say that's not funny. Yo, that's fucked up.
It is kind of funny when you say it like that. But like, no, she was raised by a single mother. She had one leg. That's crazy. Yo, I got a wild family.
Yo, Jay is crying.
That's a wild line. Oh shit.
Yeah, so she had to get like my grandmother was born in 19.
I'm sorry. That's fucking funny. Oh shit. Oh fuck.
Born in 1932, you know.
Oh man.
So she raised two daughters by herself. She was handicapped. That's crazy, man.
That's amazing.
Like, I don't know. It is amazing, but like that's why I don't hear it. That's why I never heard it because like she was like, "Yo, I gotta get shit done. I don't give a fuck what you do. Get shit done." Yeah. And there was really never time. There was no time for our love yous.
Yeah,
that's
like
why
you
I don't say it.
Like,
that's how I was raised.
I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with we are as people, right? As Black folks, we are much more like we have been. At least it's been socialized to us. We are much more demonstrable in our love for each other through action versus just through speech, right? Like your grandmother and your mom with the like get shit done, like get shit done for your family, raise your kids, get them food, get them a place to eat, put them in a safe spot. That is the love. So like they don't have to say it to you, like, you're looking for love. It's all around you, right? Like you in a safe spot. You got food on, you got food in your belly, that type of stuff. Look, but I do think it is important, and like every generation owes it to itself to do better than the last, right? And we are kind of the first generation that has easier access to like therapy and shit like that, and it is something that we should do for our kids, right? And do for the younger generation. Just you don't even if you don't have kids, like tell people that you love them who you do, right? Don't be like Tiara and be all fucked up to them. That's terrible. Don't listen to her.
No, this person deserves it.
Okay, it's probably your cousin. I hear you.
No, she's fine. She's cool. She knows how much I love her.
See, she don't say it. You don't say it to her either. See, she know how much. See how you do. If you say the person already know, that means you don't never say that shit. You'll never say.
They know.
Look, it's a relatively new thing for me to show like real affection.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's for this whole generation. It's like that.
But actually, you made me think of something I wanted to bring up, which is that Terry would have been like your guys' age, right? Around that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Around that time.
No, he would have been a little bit younger than us. It was 96. He would be your age.
Yeah, he would be your age.
He was 6 in 96.
Oh, 6 in 96, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, 94? That's when it started?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Really?
So yeah, he would be like 2-3 years older than you. Yeah. So he wouldn't be in his 30s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, what terrible thing you're gonna say about a generation? Nah, go ahead and finish your statement. He would have been a part of y'all no shit ass nigga generation. Nah, yours, son, yours.
No, I was gonna say, like, I think it's interesting to see how relatively recent a lot of the things that we have access to, kind of is. So, like, you see with Lucky and Inez, like how they're trying to break a cycle that a lot of people have been in, not to any fault of their own, but like just systematically. And then Terry's like the first person to really get some real opportunity to make something of himself. And I'm like, this dude,
right? And this is 2004.
Yes, and I'm like,
crazy.
That's and when you think about it in that context, you're just like, well, fuck, this is it's a little depressing. When you kind of think about it.
Well, I mean, in that, to your point, when people say, "Oh, why haven't black people made it?" Like, this kid is the first kid to go to college in his family, and it's in the 2000s, right? Like, that is not nearly as common across white America as it is across black America, right? Like, it just simply isn't. I mean, I am the first on my side of the family with an advanced degree. Nobody else does. Like, which is crazy, right? Like,
and you got that, like 7-8 years ago?
Exactly.
Your advanced degree, yeah.
Right. So it's not, it's not like, oh, I come from a family of like doctors and lawyers. Like, I don't. But like my wife's family, like she has a doctorate. She's not even the only one of her siblings that has a doctorate, let alone her father was a doctor.
Got doctorates.
Right. Like, but advanced degrees are just commonplace for her side of the family. Like they just are. So it's not a, I mean, fuck, my nephew just got his bachelor's and master's at the same time, right? Like that's just common. It's just commonplace. So like, you wonder why there are these systemic roadblocks or, long-term growth hasn't happened yet in the black community because some of us are just getting to that second step. Like those families are just getting there. He's just going to college, right? He is literally raised by two, as they, describe themselves, two criminals. He's just now breaking the cycle of that. Like, so how can you expect, like, well, why doesn't his family have generational wealth and all this other stuff? They just got to college, dude. They just got there. That's crazy.
And also, remember, but also to even before that, he had to be extraordinary at his school to be recognized in order to get recommended to go to a specialized high school. Whereas for like some other kids, like that's the norm to excel in that way. But considering that the environment, he is literally extraordinary compared to other kids who deserve the same chance, but because of the circumstances, they will never get that. And it's mentioned in that scene as well that he's going to be going to a place where there aren't a lot of other, they said minorities, but we know what they meant, like other black kids. So he's going to have to really go through another environment just to excel.
Right. And look, to your point, about him, these other kids having a chance to go to like do these advanced things, yeah, he's going to a different school, like to get these, but like those kids, even if they're not going to that special, technical school, they're getting great educations at their standard school. All the kids at his standard school are getting a subpar education. The teacher basically admitted that, right?
Yep.
Like the other kids are not as articulate. Not even that they don't do as well on testing or whatever, or as like fast to pick things up. They don't even speak well enough to be considered for this other high school, let alone college, let alone an advanced degree, is what she's saying. So
don't forget, New York City is one of the most segregated, as far as schools is concerned, in the country. It's not.
Yes.
I don't think it's the most. Like Chicago is up there too.
I think Chicago's number one.
New York and Chicago are two of the most segregated school systems in the country. Just period. Fucking New York. Like that's crazy.
Where everybody walks around next to everybody else on the subway and all other shit. When it comes to going to schools and stuff like that, stay over there. Yeah. And like it's not like that all over the city, but on average, yeah, it's a real problem, right? So I mean, or you could go to the same you could end up like Desus from Desus and Mero, who went to the same school as Chris Hayes in Immortal Technique. What the fuck kind of school was that? I don't know. Just random as shit. But it can happen. But most likely you're just going to be stuck in the same zone that you always have been. So after the basketball speech, again, very, very good. Lucky shows up again to Inez, and he's like, after she got off work, and she's like, what are you doing here? Because he's been kind of missing, I guess. And she's like, oh, I can't walk with my girl. And so they make up. Which was nice. It was nice. Like, he ain't apologize, but like, that's a hood apology, right? Like, I'm just going to show up.
Yeah.
And like, you don't know this going further into the movie, but if you start to look at Lucky, he's starting to look worse, right? Like he does, like they're sort of making him up to look older, but also like he just doesn't look like they're messing with his makeup to make him look a little bit more worn, not just old.
Yeah.
Which is significant for stuff that comes up later. Which is like literally the next scene. Yeah, you're actually right. Yeah, he's diagnosed with cancer. And at this point, Terry is now 17, watching his father suffer from this. Meanwhile, the new owner of their building comes over and he's like, "Hey, you got an old stove and some old cabinets? I can help you. I'm a white man. You can trust me."
Get out.
Yeah, immediately, I think all of our antenna went directly up. Like, do not trust this man. Right? It's like the scene from Pocahontas when these white men cannot be trusted. Like, no, absolutely not. And so he's like, "Yeah, I can get my guys to come over. Hook you up with some new cabinets. Have you met Javier? He's our new super." What a stereotypically obvious name for the super. Okay. And so she's like, "Yeah, okay, that sounds great. You can come and fix the stuff." And then you come to find out that these assholes like broke all this shit because they quote unquote thought it was a full flip. How that happened, I do not know. And so they took out, like, they broke her sink. They took out, like, a toilet don't work and the pipes are leaking and shit. And he's like, "Well, if you just move out, we could fix it all." Nah.
That scene made me so. It was the way he talked to her when she rightfully got it. So he talked to her like she was a child. And
when she got upset.
Like
let's act
like two adults. Or you can leave.
Your fucking teeth out.
Again, Inez, 1994 Inez. would have
Nah,
handled
she'd
that.
have stabbed that
She'd
nigga.
have stabbed. She'd have shanked that nigga.
She was ready to go.
Right.
She was ready to go right back to Rikers over that. Get the fuck out of here.
That shit made me furious, yo. When he said, like, just act like, let's talk like adults. And I'm like, how about I throw you out that window? How about that?
Like, get out of
How
my
adult
face.
is that?
Not very.
I mean, you know,
adults fight like UFC.
they do. They fight all the time. I see videos on Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. They're quite popular. But yeah, so he's trying to like get her out of the apartment. And Terry, after the guy leaves, is like, why didn't you fight? Like why didn't you fight on that? Like that seemed like some bullshit. Like, why didn't you do anything? And basically, Inez says, without saying it, like, listen, like, she's been fighting and being like up in people's faces her whole life. Like, she's kind of tired of fighting, and she wants to be able to trust somebody. She wants a situation that doesn't feel like she's got to like go on the attack, and so she's not up for fighting. Turns out, Terry's instincts are obviously correct. Terry takes he eventually convinces the girl at that place or whatever, that little restaurant, to go on a date with him. And you know, she, like, it's weird because like I didn't really understand much of the point of this relationship, because she's like, yeah, I don't like any of your friends. They're stupid. Are you stupid? And he's like, no. And then he's like, yeah, I really like you, sort of. And she's like, yeah, I'm moving out of town. He's like, oh, okay.
Well,
I felt like this scene was just a show like that. It's yet another Black woman, especially, that's challenging.
Yeah, I guess she kind of mirrors Inez a bit.
Like Terry's like kind of thought process, like her saying things like, it's okay to be smart. We need more engineers around here. Whereas like early on, Terry was not even willing to kind of go to that tech school earlier. And you can just tell that some of that, maybe, I don't know if it's shame that he was probably feeling of wanting to kind of break out of his own box, so to say. So I feel like that the point of that scene was for her to kind of challenge him.
Okay, that's fair.
That wasn't coming from his mother, especially.
Right. A woman that he wants to be with. Yeah, but she wasn't Spanish though. And so his mom is like, who was that? Who's that little black girl you were hanging out with? Is that your girlfriend? And he was like, well, you know, it's like, you know, I don't mess with, you know, the Latin ladies. And she was like, oh, what, you don't like somebody who looked like you? It's like, ooh, that's gonna sting. And he was like, I'm gonna go ahead and play this PlayStation 2. Like, I think this is appropriately timed for the movie. Let's just concentrate on that. Terrence is like, finally.
It is the correct controller for the time frame. They knocked it out of the park.
That star, they regained that one star they lost. So then, you know, you come to find out Terry's at school, and he's like, yeah, you know, stuff's, you know, a little rough. He's talking to that black woman who teaches there. He's like, look, I run an after school program, and my nosy ass, all I need is your social security number and your birth certificate, and you can get a job. Pay you a little bit of money.
Why do you need my birth certificate?
Yeah, like, how about I just get a work pass?
Right?
Like,
yeah, go on and get one of them green permits, right?
Yeah, like a work permit. Like,
you need my birth certificate for, yo.
Yeah, like, that's crazy. And so he also tells Miss Tucker's nosy ass, yeah, she happy to help. I bet you are. And that woman really pissed me off. You know, it's like a fucking automaton. You know, it's just like, you know, just have a fucking bit of humanity. He also tells her that it doesn't look like its father's going to be able to come home, right? So like he knows that he's Lucky's dying. On his deathbed, Lucky confesses to Inez that he never really returned her love like he should have because he didn't understand why she even loved him. And he didn't know if he deserved it. Which is a sad...
He asks her why, and she says the same reason why everyone else does. I'm like, what kind of answer is that?
Yeah, that's not a good answer.
It's not a really good answer. And then he goes on to say, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah. And look, I mean, in this, like, and this is why, like, I think it is so incredibly important to not, God, I sound like such an old man here, but like, it's so incredibly important to not hold shit like this in. Cause like, you don't want it to be your deathbed confession that you care about people or you don't feel whole or whatever, like to the people that you love. Like that to me is the saddest shit ever. Like you should be able to go out and everybody should know how you felt about them and how they felt about you. Like truly, right? Way before you're coughing up a lung hair on a bed. But a lot of people do have deathbed confessions, which is sad. Lucky dies, and they have a little, a little memorial, a little party or whatever outside of their apartment, kind of outside of their building in the same fashion like when they got married. Right. And there's a woman across the street who we had seen earlier, and she just keeps staring over across the street at the the shit outside at the funeral basically. And Terry's like, "Yo, Mom, who was that woman? She keeps staring over there, like staring at us." She says that's Lucky's daughter and her mother, and she just said, "Make him a plate." And so he's like, "Wait, what?
Excuse me?
Like, what the fuck?"
Are you talking?
So yeah, you find out that this woman that Lucky had been looking at earlier that we didn't really talk about, but Inez called him out for staring at this woman when he was younger. He did, in fact, because I was like, "Oh, cool." He looked at her like, "All right, whatever." You gave it a glance. I get it. Like she was good looking, but you moved on, right? You matured. Well, apparently not really. He was like, "Nah, I'm gonna go ahead and go find out what's happening." And he got her pregnant, and they had a kid. But Inez, in her maturity, at the end of the day, was like, "Look, like it is what it is. He's a complicated guy, but like they deserve to celebrate him too because they loved him as well." I hope that in my life I am that understanding. I don't see it. I don't see it in me. Like I guess we just have to fight on the day of my wife's funeral. Like that would be wild. I don't know how that would even happen, but that would be a wild situation. But I respect people who are able to be that mature. I really do. We could all learn something from that. I don't know what, but we could all learn something from it. I really don't. Couldn't be me. Get the fuck away. Get out of here. You and your other kids. But again, this is Inez now versus 14 years ago or 2004 Inez, who would have just walked across the street and just like probably beat that lady up and her kid. Like I just assume.
Yeah, Inez was 22 when this movie started. So yeah, she'd be 32 years. She'd be 33 now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of maturity for 33, yo. That's a lot of maturity for 33.
Okay.
Could you be that mature, TR? Could
Me?
you be that mature?
If my husband
go ahead
and his daughter showed up, I would like to say no. Yes.
The answer is
I would like to say yes.
Nah, I would like to say
yes. Means that whenever I say I would like to think so, that means no. That's to me. For me, that means no. I know what I mean when I say that, and that means no. I want to knock this nigga's teeth out.
I don't.
But
like you. She's like, I agreed her. Like, hold on, let me put some Vaseline on. But I agreed.
I would say the child didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, the kid ain't do that.
Yeah. Put your kid down. Put your kid down.
Like a child. What?
Put your kid down.
Yeah, put your kid down for a second. Let me talk to you.
It's
Right.
like fences.
Don't play with
when
other
what's his
kids,
name had
baby.
the
Let me
child by
talk to
the
your
other
mom
chick
for a
and she
second.
died.
Yeah, yo, like you just bring the baby over, like, now, Rose, I need you to do me a favor. Like, no, you don't. The fuck
Yeah,
you
get
do.
the fuck out my face. No.
Come on now. I got 2 strikes against me. I'm on my last one. Like, nah, you by yourself, nigga. Like, by yourself. Fuck out of here. But again, so yeah, Tiara would make her a plate. She'd be cool with it. Like, don't worry about
And
it.
then bash her over the head with it.
Yep, absolutely.
Hey,
Like
look, we all have to have a last meal sometime.
So you're not even gonna go with God is working on all of us? Like, nope. Nah, I'm a fighter. Like, that's fucked up. She ain't do nothing wrong. Well, all right. She might have done a couple things wrong. Maybe she ain't know. So nosy ass Miss Tucker, she's like, oh, yeah, your card came back declined. So I'm gonna try to run it again in front of everybody. She's like, hey, no big deal. Your papers didn't go through. And he's like, Terry's like,
he said my social security number expired.
Yeah, that was funny.
I was like, wait a minute. And I had to, it took me like 2 seconds. I'm like, that don't happen. What the fuck
Nah,
is this nigga talking?
absolutely
She
not.
was like, that's not how it works, Terry.
He was
what are you
like,
talking about?
he was like, oh no,
Or whatever. What was he calling him? I don't remember what he was going by.
But no, yeah, he was going by Daryl.
Earl.
Daryl Terry, whatever his last name was. And so she's like, oh, don't worry. Let me help you. I've got a friend who works at Social Security. Let me call him up right now. He's like, whoa. Slow down. And he grabs the phone, which is a definite sign of, I think I might have fucked up. And so she's like, oh, I'll look into this. I'll figure it out. And so her nosy ass like ran right into his situation. And she was like, oh, is it cool if I come over and talk to you? And so she does, her and a cop and
Social worker.
and a social worker. And they're like, so here's the deal. We don't know how to tell you this. And I'm thinking, oh, they're going to tell him the thing that he already knows. Like, it's not a big deal, whatever. Or like, this is the origin of like why you were taken into foster care. Like your mom, used to beat you or some shit like some crazy shit, right?
Not here. She just left. So we got to remember.
Yeah, she left.
Because they show up and Inez is just, he's like, where the fuck is my Maya? And she shows
Yeah, he was looking for, he was calling around asking for it because he had told her that the woman was coming by.
Yeah.
And he was, at 6:00, he was calling around. And then old uppity teacher comes in, and I love the framing. She's like, "Hey, can I come in?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, sure, come in." And then, "Oh yeah, by the way, here's a social worker and a cop." And
yeah, it was like
she does say, "Can we come in?" And I'm like,
she does say,
"What the fuck is we?"
Like,
and
no.
then she shows up with somebody else and a cop. I'm like, "Ain't this some shit? What the fuck?"
Like, we going to big jail. Like,
two
right.
cops. You need 2 cops, yo. You need 2.
Right, they're not.
Cops?
Yeah, they're not running. It's not a trap house. Like, relax. Like, this shit was weird. And of course, the apartment looks like hell because the landlord has fucked it up. Not because that's how they were living, right? Which that was not lost on me. That's how they saw it, but that wasn't really reality. So they're like, well, we hate to break it to you. Not like Inez kidnapped you. Like, this woman abducted you. Like, we're like, yeah, we know. Like, we were there. We saw that. Like, we've been watching the whole movie for 2 hours, lady. We know that. But apparently, Inez was never his mom. But in fact, a woman who just saw him on the street and just took him and decided to raise him and pretend that was her son. That is the big, M. Night twist that in fact Inez is not related to him at all, and that she just saw him and was like, I'm just gonna raise this kid as my own. That of course fucks Terry up. He was obviously not aware of this, and neither was anybody else watching this movie until this point. And so eventually he calls his Aunt Kim, and he's like looking for his mom, and he's like pretty upset. He heads back to the apartment later on, and Inez is there, and they have this confrontation. Which, look, I gotta tell you, I hate to give this woman credit, not Teyana Taylor, but I hate to give this woman credit. There's a bit of channeling of Monique's performance from Precious in this scene. Like, it's very similar. Like that cigarette smoking scene in Precious, that's very, very good. Like, there's a very similar way that Teyana Taylor performs the scene. I thought it was impressive. And she's just like, listen, like there's a level of immaturity that's still in Inez, right? Where she's like, nobody wanted to take care of me, so I took care of you, right? Like, what the fuck? There was nobody there for me. And like, you're telling this to a kid. Like, yo, what was he supposed to do, right? But to me, it felt like she didn't realize until like a scene later that he was the reason she was like, he saved her ultimately, because she would not have grown up. She would not have matured. She would not have gotten out of her sort of wayward cycle until she became a mom, right? Like that. And like, she doesn't realize that. And I think in that sort of last scene where she kind of smirks, I think that's where she actually realizes like, oh, like I became a better person because of him, not just going the other way. Like, how did you guys read this thing?
I didn't really understand the smirk at the end, but this scene here, when they're like talking to each other and he's like crying, tearing up, I'm just like, you got me, movie. Because I just started tears. I'm like, this scene is so good.
It is.
It's a very good scene. Yeah, like you said, they did kind of raise each other, and they kind of taught each other shit. He taught her to mature because she had to, and like she did win. She says, "I won" at the end of the argument, I guess, and she's like, "No, I won. He's going to a better school." She did raise him to be a good kid, and it wasn't like, and the fact that it wasn't like basketball or football or some shit like that. It was like he's going to a tech school,
right? Academics.
I also thought was really dope because it doesn't have to be sports all the fucking time. But she won. She did. She might be going to prison if she gets caught, but she raised a good fucking kid.
Oh, she can just move to the next borough. They'll
Right.
never fucking find her.
She could move to Long Island. It's only 40 minutes. It's only 30 minutes away. She probably couldn't afford it, but
and it's implied that he got into some really, really good schools, and especially schools outside of New York, based on like Lucky telling him go somewhere far. So I thought that this was going to go another way, and this is just me expecting the worst. I was not expecting them to kind of just be cool, and even in kind of being closer in a way. At the end, even when they hug and she's like, this isn't goodbye. I thought that Terry was going to be like, I'm never talking to you again, kind of disowning her and feeling almost like his life was a lie, which it was, but in a lot of ways it wasn't, because they still had a home, and his relationship with his mother was still very real. But I also thought this was going to go in a way that, like, he finds out that his papers are phony, and then it ruins any chance of a future for him, because as his teacher said in one of those scenes, like, if you lied on your college applications, that's a felony. And I was like, oh my God, here we go.
Yeah,
they're going to prove him, and he's going to be thrown into prison. He's never going to get an opportunity, and it's just like all of this was for nothing. And that didn't happen. It was almost like a bittersweet ending in the end. Like, it's, Terry could have been a victim of the foster system if Inez hadn't intervened. So in a way, she saved his life as well. And in a way, it's like, yeah, she did win in the end. They both won. So in a way, I guess they kind of, sort of beat the system, maybe, just illegally. But he did what he had to do.
Hey, you do.
It is what it is, and I loved that Inez gets somewhat of a happy ending. Both of them do. I thought it was pretty bittersweet, and I was happy for both of those characters to kind of get their little happy ending.
Yep. Michael, your thoughts?
So this scene is really good, and it was able to like I was ready to just be mad, right? I was ready to be mad. I'm like, well, what are you doing? Like, is this some sort of scam? Is you playing a real long game? Like what? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Why would you do this, right? And I got pissed because in the beginning, she was indignant.
Yeah, she
was.
And that really pissed me off. And then she was able to turn it around. And she explained herself. And, she said, look, I saw you out there, a 2-year-old. I saw a 2-year-old out there. And I waited around and nobody came. Who was going to take care of you? Right? And had that been anybody else, they'd have left. And and like that's what got me, right? Like, because like black women are always doing that shit, right? Like they're always taking in people, especially black men, picking their ass up and raising them and looking out for them.
Yeah.
And this is the love story. And this is, I mean, this seems beautiful. When she started explaining that, that's when I teared up. I was like, God damn, man. Like this is it, yo.
Absolutely.
Like they always doing that shit. They always doing it, quite literally, right?
Yeah.
Like look at, I mean, you two haven't seen me in my younger days, but Jay has. Like, he's seen me. He's seen me before I met my black wife, right? Like,
yeah, you needed the help, yo. You needed it.
I needed the help.
You needed it.
I needed it.
Your grown ass cannot survive on mustard alone, yo. That shit is a terrible diet.
I live like a. So yeah, man. Like, this was it. And then she started crying, and I started crying, and everybody starts fucking crying and shit. But yeah, this was so moving for me, man. This was so moving for me. And she even says it, right? She even says it like, I saw somebody that needed me, but, I think I needed you, and I'm sorry, right? Like, and she apologized for it, right? Because like, yeah, yo, like, you're not supposed to, that's why people, when they talk about having kids, right? It's like, nah, yo, don't have them on a whim. Like, you got to really want them, because you can't bring a child into the world just because you think it's cute, or like you hope that it'll make you a better person in the end. Like, it might, but it's gonna put you through the ringer, man. And it's not something to be taken lightly. And she took that shit on, and she took it lightly, and she was put through the ringer. And she said, but she did it because she had like this empathy, this empathy that's in her. That's in most people, but especially black women, for some reason, because they get, I don't know why they have it. They get trampled on all the goddamn time.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, this was it, man. This was the scene.
Yeah. I mean, it is really a testament to, like, all of what you said, I 100% agree with. And like, you couple all of that with the fact that like, she didn't come from like a lot of means or whatever. Like, she's literally a person who was in and out of jail. She's literally has a hard life. She was in and out of foster care herself. So like, she knows all of the system and all of the sort of, the roadblocks of life. She has experienced them herself. And even knowing her life is not solved and fixed, and where she's like, oh, well, now I made it through all that, I'm successful, let me pick this child up from obscurity and raise them as my own. No, she's still in it. She's still in it, but she's just older. She's not doing better than him. She's just older. And she's like, I can't let this kid suffer alone. If you're gonna suffer and I'm suffering, we might as well suffer together, right? But at least I can try to protect you. I can try to do something the best I can. And again, the idea that these two people chose to be, or this one woman chose to be a parent to this child when she didn't have to, says a lot. The fact that she recruited this guy who did not have any desire to be a dad, who was pulled into this, and then he matured to be a good father before he passed on, says a lot, right? Like, it is like the depths of those characters, their own, like the character's personal character, like all of that is put into these people and then shown on screen, that it doesn't matter how much means you have. It doesn't matter where you come from. As long as you have that human empathy and you have a desire to do the right thing by somebody, you can do amazing things. And like that line at the end is really what does it. I won, right? Like, fuck, because she's not saying that really to him. She's saying it to the system. She's saying it to society that put every roadblock in front of her to fail. Right? For her to fail in her own life, for her to fail in her own career, for her to fail as a mother, everything. All of those roadblocks all put in place. The shitty apartment, the shitty school, them being on the run, having to get fake papers and fake name and all this other shit for her kid. All of this shit. The kid not even being her kid, being abandoned. All of that. Not even knowing who the actual birth parents are. All of those roadblocks, at the end of the day, she still won. That's a powerful fucking statement, especially coming from a black woman. That's a powerful fucking statement. No, man, this movie deserves all the credit. We're giving it and more. The director deserves all the credit that she's being given for this. And Teyana Taylor definitely deserves the credit for this performance. I mean, just stellar. I really, like, she's done a lot of, like, sort of like onesie-twosie parts and stuff. I'd like to see her do some other stuff, because I want to see if this just happened to be the material, or if she can pull out performances like this on a regular, because I think she could be known for a lot more than just, and not that this is a small thing, more than just being a choreographer, because she's got some real fucking talent. She really does.
So she's like a quadruple threat. Like, Teyana Taylor's dope.
Yeah.
Like, she literally could do any fucking thing. Like, anything that I've seen her do, she's been excellent at it. So
some people have it like that, man. They really do. All right, I think that is it for us for episode 244, 1001. Look, again, if you have not seen this movie and you made it this far, you really should go back and watch it. And get those Kleenex ready, man. Like, it's a great movie, and it shows us as black people in a nuanced way, which I appreciated, and I think we all did. All right, that's it for us. Again, we will be back in about 2 to 3 weeks. We're just going to go on hiatus for a little bit. And so go check out some old episodes. Enjoy those. And we will see you guys next time.
See you.
Bye.
You're watching the Black on Black Cinema YouTube channel. Make sure you check out our full reviews of black movies, past and present. And every other week, we do a preview episode where we talk about a random topic that affects the black community.